When you're recording multiple musicians, it's good to be able to set up a headphone mix, and sometimes different headphone mixes for different musicians. Now, this really belongs in a recording audio course, not a mixing course, but since it involves sends and buses, I thought I would show you how to do that in this course. So let's assume we're bringing in a percussionist to overdub some percussion on this song, and we want to give this percussionist a mix in their headphones that allows them to overdub the percussion. And they may want a little bit of drums, a lot of guitar, or more likely a lot of drums, less vocal, and so forth. So we have these nice submixes we've set up. So let's work with them. Instead of sending individual tracks, we can of course do that, but I'm going to send them different amounts of the submixes. So I'll control click on buses, and let's first create a track for our headphone mix. So this will be a stereo aux track. We will call it Headphone. And now I'll send it to an output on my audio interface. If you don't have multiple outputs on your audio interface, you can't really do this. But I have an optical output, and this happens to go to the headphones. Don't worry about how, it just does. So that's where the headphone mix is going to go. So what is going to go up here? Well, that's going to be a bus for headphones. So let's create that bus. I have A through E sends shown up here, and that's where I'll put some sends to reverbs or delays and things like that. I like to put my headphones in the F to J area. Once again, it doesn't make a difference what slot, but if you're displaying all your sends, it's nice to be able to show headphone stuff down here and other sends, reverbs, and delays up here. For now, I'll hide A to E since I don't have a lot of screen real estate. And for each of these tracks, I'm going to add in a routing or a send to this headphone mix. So I'll do Shift Option, and I'll choose Track, Headphones. Now each one up here is sent to the headphone bus, and this one is receiving from the headphone bus. But I have a little problem. It's italicized, which means the bus is not active. So let's find out what's going on here. We'll go to our I/O, go to our bus page, and there's headphones, but it's assigned it to an output which doesn't exist. If I uncheck that, we should be fine. This is a virtual output, a virtual bus, so I don't need to assign it to a physical output. And now when I go back to my session, here's my headphones, and here's the bus. So let's determine how much of each of these things we want to send to our headphones. Let's send a lot of drums, none of the percussion since we're overdubbing percussion. We'll send guitar, electric guitar, all of this stuff, and maybe just a little bit of vocal and background vocals. And now when I play the track, you can see the headphone mix is getting quite a bit of material here. Now what do you think is going to happen if I lower the volume of my drums? Well, now all of a sudden I'm sending less drums to my headphones. Well, that's not good. I want my mix that I'm hearing to be different than the headphone mix. So he can hear what he wants to hear, and I can hear what I want to hear. So in order to do that, I'm going to Shift Option click the P, and now all of these will be pre-sent. So even if I mute all of these here, the headphones will still be getting their own mix. And likewise, if he doesn't want to hear the percussion, I can just mute the percussion in his headphones while I'll still hear it here. That's another advantage of presets. Now, guess what happened? A flautist just walked in, and that flautist wants their own headphone mix, different than what my percussionist wants. So once again, I'll create a new headphone mix. We'll call this one Flute Heads. And I have another port on my interface, let's say analog 3-4. And this one is plugged in to the flute player's headphones. So now in the second slot, slot G of my sends, I will again select all my buses, Shift Option, choose flute heads. And once again, you can see they're all routed to flute heads, and this is receiving from flute heads. If I command click, I can set up a different mix for the flute. So the flute wants some drums, a little guitar, and a little bit of the organ. None of the horn or the vocals. Fine. Let's give them a little guitar too, and a little electric guitar. Now that's their mix. Here is the percussionist headphone mix. And let's make sure we make these all pre-fader. So now I can control these all differently. So that's an example of how I like to set up headphone mixes. I can control the mix that each one of these people gets separately from what I'm hearing in my studio. And as long as I have physical outputs to send to different headphones, then I can do this. I can create different sends that are all pre-fader and send each musician their own mix.